Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Startup Company. And as you've probably noticed in the title of this video, this is my final episode for this game. And I know it's kind of sudden, but if you've been watching the series, you know that my interest and my adoration for this game has really fallen off, mainly because things have just been getting really repetitive in the gameplay cycle. And I'm just not really having that great of a time with it anymore. And that isn't to say that this game is bad. That isn't to, say that this game leaves a bad taste in my mouth or anything. It's just, I've reached that point in the game where everything gets repetitive and you're doing the same stuff over and over again, and there's nothing to really strive for anymore. And it's a lot of sitting around and waiting, which is kind of what happened in Cities Skylines. I still adored that game quite a bit when I finished the series on that game. But I did realize that things were repetitive in what I was doing. And, I had kind of, gotten as much out of the gameplay as I could, which I feel like I have done here. Now, granted, I haven't, my products have not become massively popular or anything. I'm not making a whole lot of money. I haven't used any mods. But it's just that 2 out of those 3 things involve a lot of waiting, for one. And the third thing in regards to mods, there just aren't a whole lot of mods that are out for the game right now. Because it's a newer game and it doesn't necessarily have the popularity of a game, such as like Cities Skylines, where that the release of that game was highly anticipated to start with. So you just had people waiting, on the edges of their seats to create mods for that game and to play it and to really make it what it is today. Now, I won't necessarily rule out a return to this game, but I am 95 to 99.5% certain that I am done with this series. More likely than not, any updates made to the game aren't going to change what I want to do. In terms of this series, if modding explodes for this game, which I don't imagine it will, but if modding does explode for the game, I will possibly reconsider. But I'm 95 to 99.5% certain, which means I'm very certain, not perfectly certain, if that's like the right terminology to use there, but I'm very certain to some extent that certain is like 100% concrete. That's not the right word to be using. It's very likely that this is the end of the series. And I like to use the end of the last episode in any series to really just talk about the game, what my thoughts on it were. And I guess whether or not I would recommend it, I guess. Which, if I review the game beforehand as its first episode, you guys kind of get that impression from me. But that's when I'm first starting it, not when I'm finishing it. When I'm finishing it, I have a lot more experience with the game. I understand a whole lot more, and I can provide, a much more logical and what's the word? I guess cohesive recommendation and review of the game. And we just lost somebody. Somebody quit. I'm done with the game, at least for now. So I don't really care all that much. The game in itself, the concept and the core gameplay loop is very nice. Like it's very enjoyable when you're starting out. You know, I would say the first 5 hours of this game that you play are the most enjoyable hours in the game. Which, you know, is the case for a lot of different games, but when you're first playing this game and first developing your company and first doing all of this stuff, you know, that's the most enjoyable part, is just building your company from the ground up to something that is more sustainable. I think where the gameplay loop falls off is when you are beginning to find success and your company is really, really growing. I wouldn't say that my company is really growing, but I would say that I have found success for the most part, and I would say that I have reached a farther extent of the gameplay loop than what is originally there. But this game just, you know, it runs into a problem that a lot of simulation games have, where it runs out of stuff for you. You know, like, it doesn't have enough for you to want to continue playing, you know. City Skylines is, I believe, one of the greatest examples of a game that almost never runs out of stuff for you to do. Granted, it is a city builder game, which makes it that much easier, but even a game like SimCity 2013, which was also a city builder, and Kingdoms and Castles, which was also a city builder, you know, can run out of things for you to do if the grand scheme of their gameplay loop is not really considered. Now, I'm not suggesting here that the developers of this game simply didn't consider the further extents of the gameplay loop for this game. I'm just saying that if they have, I'm not really noticing it, because there just isn't anything here for me to want me to continue playing. You know, unfortunately, as much as I did enjoy playing the game beforehand, you know, there just isn't anything here for me now, which really sucks, because I was enjoying myself playing this game, but gradually you'll notice as we've progressed through the series, you know, in these recent episodes, I just haven't been enjoying myself as much. And I'm not going to continue playing a game on the channel that I don't enjoy, because that just does not make for good content. It makes for lazy content, it makes for repetitive content, and it makes for uninspired content. And I do not want that on the channel. I try to prevent that kind of content on the channel as much as I can. And so I feel like we've reached that point here with this series where I don't enjoy playing the game really anymore. I don't feel like making good content revolving around the game. So we're just going to end this series here. Now, I would like to reiterate, you know, because I don't want any wrong messages conveyed. I'd like to reiterate that this game is good. This game is good. I definitely recommend you pick it up. It's totally worth the $10. I'm just saying that after putting in about 6 hours, little over 6 hours into the game, I just don't enjoy playing it anymore. You know, and that's just me. You know, I'm one person. You know, there are thousands of other people that have purchased and have played this game that have different opinions than I do, you know? So, and there are plenty of other YouTubers that have played this game on their channels that have different opinions than I do. I'm just one person, you know? So whether or not you agree with me is fine, because there are other people out there that hold different opinions as well, you know? And if for some people it applies differently as a result, you know? They're fine with the repetitive gameplay loop once you reach this kind of point, because they enjoy the core gameplay loop so much that they don't care that there isn't really anything new offered the further along you go, you know? And I mean, really, that's just how simulation games are, you know? A lot of them struggle to extend their gameplay loops far enough to keep people wrapped in. City Skylines is one of the few examples. I would say that, any one of the Sims games is a good example of a simulation game that can keep you wrapped in with an extensive gameplay loop. It's just that, especially with these indie titles that don't have large budgets like EA and Colossal Order did, or I guess Maxis really is who developed The Sims. I believe, right? Yeah. These indie devs don't have those kind of budgets, thus they can't really develop, larger and more extensive gameplay loops, and as a result, they can't keep people wrapped in. They can wrap people in initially, but they can't keep them playing, which is a problem for indie simulation games as a whole. And there are some AAA simulation games that fail to have that extensive gameplay loop as well. But it mainly occurs with indie simulation games. Just not being able to maintain and have an extensive gameplay loop. Which, hopefully that's something that can be worked on, can be fixed, can be noticed by developers that are planning to make their own indie simulation games. That, just ensure that there is enough here to keep a person wrapped in. Again, this just applies to me, though. What is offered here, again, could be enough for somebody else. I'm just one person. But I have noticed that, the trend where, it's just the playability just does drop off for a lot of indie simulation games after you log a few hours into the game and you go through the main gameplay loop. The statistics don't lie. That does apply to games really of any genre, but it's especially prevalent in indie simulation games. Regardless of all of that, though, this game is good. You should buy it. It's worth the $10. Link is down to it in the description box down below. Highly recommended. Hopefully they continue to push out updates for this game. Hopefully they hone in on it and improve it in a lot of various ways, because it's a good game and it deserves to be cared for and nurtured. And I don't know if this game is in early access or not, but if it is, maybe the full release will be something very cool. And if it is already a full release, then hopefully they continue to update it and maybe turn it into something that is really great, instead of just being great. So that's just my take on it. Leave your opinions and whatnot down in the comment section below. If you disagree with me, if you agree with me, if you feel like I missed a point, or you have your own opinion on the game in general, anything at all, comment section is there for you. With all of that said, thank you guys so much for sticking around for this series. If you guys enjoyed it, comment section, again, is there. Like the video, share it with your friends, let us know you want to see more of these series and these kind of games on the channel. Again, the link is down in the description box as well. Subscribe to the channel for more gaming content. I play all sorts of games on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you very much, and I'll talk to you later.